Well, I made a breakthrough. What I did was, I was going around in circles. What did I say earlier? I have to add another component? Well, no, I don't. All I have to do is make use of the components that I have in a way that I have done on purpose in Paul Falstad's simulator, but I kind of overlooked to do it here. So what did I do? I increased the series resistance of these two main coils here. Instead of assuming their resistance to be 3 times their inductance, I assumed 4 times. So I kept them at their magical inductive value of 40 henries each. I just raised their series resistance to 160 ohms, and it did the job. It was beautiful. I now have the right proportion, and then I had to raise also these capacitors to 1e to the negative 8. But I got the voltage ratio to current to be 1.5, very close to 1.67. To me, that I'm happy enough with that, and I don't want to mess with it. The only problem now is the overall power level. The wattage is too high. I have to bring that down. So, what does that mean? It means the gauge wire. You just use a thinner wire, that's all. You use the right gauge. You use that in any case, anywhere, everywhere throughout here. Now, I just assumed everything was 3 times. Normally, I don't do that. Normally, I put 10 gauge in these small coils and something much higher in these pair of larger coils here. But I didn't do that in this simulator, in this circuit. I just made them all the same. 3 times the ohms, 3 times the inductance, which is assuming they were all the same gauge wire, which of course doesn't make any sense. So I may have to modify these smaller coils to see if I can't change that here. I don't get to do series resistance in the transformer, so I don't know what that means. But in these coils here, I get to do that, and it made all the difference. I'm telling you, it is unbelievable. I'm shocked. I'm literally shocked. What else can I tell you? Okay, so the ballast influence, the stabilizing, that's what I mean by ballast. The stabilizing influence are the 3 resistors, the spark gap ballast, the rotor ballast, and the stator ballast. But the anti-ballast are the capacitive and inductive reactances. Yet, the very nature of the anti-ballast is also over unity. It gives you the surge, because it's this relationship between capacitive and inductive reactances that makes it possible to synthesize electricity on demand. So it's a kind of a mixed bag of tricks, because on the one hand, you want these reactances to give you over unity, but on the other hand, they cause you problems. They cause the simulator to mess up, and give you error messages, time step too small in transient analysis, or the opposite, instantaneous explosion. Or you wait a little while and then it explodes. So I didn't have to lower these capacitances like I thought. I had to raise the series resistance of these 2 coils. Can you beat that? By thinning down the wire, by using a higher gauge wire to wrap these coils with. Isn't that the most amazing thing? The simplest oversight can spell the difference between success and failure. I'm telling you, you can't afford to give up. They don't teach you this in school. So it's just as well I didn't take formal training in this department, because you literally have to bumble and fumble your way through, because it's bad for business, it's bad for banking, it's bad for the corporate mindset. If we all become sovereigns in our own right, capable of manifesting our own energy enough to use for ourselves and maybe share with our neighbors, and leave it at that. No more distribution, no more power grid, just a simple act of helping oneself and one's neighbors, and leaving it at that. Very small neighborhood grid, a microgrid. I think it would qualify. Nelson, what's his first name? I think Nelson is his last name. I discovered a friend on YouTube who works with usually rock star events, but any kind of public event where you have to put up a public address system to convey the sound to the audience sitting outside the stage in an open area, open venue. And so he's got to use a gas-fired electric generator, got to plant the grounding rods for the generator, and he's got meters on the generator, he's got meters up in the control tower or the control booth, and then he's got the huge woofers, speakers, and the small tweeters out in the audience, yards and yards and yards of cabling to connect everything. And then he's got the mics on the stage, the pickup mics, one for each guitar and whatnot. And then he's got to watch the dials and make sure they don't start to wildly swing to the right and to the left. When they start to undulate their amplitude, he knows trouble is afoot, and before he knows it, if he doesn't shut down right away, he can't afford to wait, one of those woofers will probably blow up in front of the audience and catch fire. It'll be a mess. So he's learned by 10 years of experience that, and then if he goes and checks the meter on, or has somebody for him, check the meter on the gas-fired generator, it does not vary. It stays rock solid in its output, yet the meters on his dashboard, his control booth display, are wildly undulating and rising as they do so. Well, no, I don't know if they rise, but they rise and they fall. And all you have to do is reach a certain peak, of course, to blow up something. So, and they're rising, their peaks is greater than what they were designed to produce. So momentarily he is producing over unity, and then it dies out. So I guess overall you could say it is, the RMS, so to speak, is increasing. The average is increasing, despite the fact that the input is not. It's not changing one iota. So this is what I expect to see. I've seen it in simulations many times, the undulation of amplitude. It might be voltage, might be current, might be wattage, but it's always something that goes up and down like a yo-yo. And then, if you got something, all you have to do is control it and to ease your mind. So I'm happy that I'm getting somewhere finally. Now all I have to do is bring down the power level, which is what I normally have to do, it seems like. But I was getting error messages when I had these capacitors at 1E -7 or less. So I don't know. I still got to work on this some more. We'll see what happens. Sorry for the gum chewing, if that's been distracting you.